All right. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for joining. We are so excited. Before we get started, I probably will say this a few times before I leave this screen, but if you want to check in at the website that we put on the screen, it's in the chat box. You can be entered in to win a free registration. So please feel free to check in at the link that was provided in the chat box. And you can get put in for free registration. And I'll say it again before we leave this slide, just because we have a lot of people joining and there might be a few people who are late. So I'll try and mention this again at the end. But before we begin, go ahead and do that. I'll leave it on for a minute for you to do that. And thank you for taking the time to join. I mean, we are so excited to be partnering with Bellevue. It's one of my favorite places to be. I live in Northern California and I love being in Bellevue. It's, like I said, I love the culture. I love the vibe. I love the restaurants. I love the food. I love the community. I love the movie in the park when I went one time. So I'm excited again to be there. Before we go ahead and start, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself and then our local team. My name's Cindy Lawson. I'm the Senior Director of School Partnerships with Right at School. And I have the privilege of working with school district superintendents all across the country, but primarily everything west of the Mississippi. So Texas, Oklahoma, up and west. And I love my job and I love what we do. And I've loved that I've been able to work with the people here in Bellevue. Tiffany Bliss is our regional director. She lives right there in Washington. And so Tiffany, you want to introduce yourself and you want to introduce our local team?
Yeah, hi everybody. I am Tiffany Bliss. I'm the Senior Regional Director. I oversee all programs in Washington, Oregon, and a couple towards the central United States. I'm really excited. I started with Right at School about 4 years ago when we opened up in 2 districts in the state of Washington, and now we're in multiple districts through the years. So I'm really excited to be here. I would also like to take the opportunity to introduce Christina Breuer, who will be our area manager over the Bellevue School District in particular. She is waving to everybody, and we're really excited. She's on her 3rd week of training right now, and we're really excited to have her on the team. And then there are multiple other members from the Right at School team that are also on this call tonight, just in support and to learn and make sure everybody knows the most up-to-date information about what the plan is in Bellevue. So we're glad to be here to support you.
Christina, did you want to come off mute and video and say hi so people can see your face? So you pop up to the top.
Hello, I'm Christina. I live local to the Sammamish area and very familiar with Bellevue. So I'm super excited to be here.
Yay, we're happy to have you. All right. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you guys for introducing yourself. Again, I will say it again, as I told you I would. If you want to check in, for those of you who are just joining, go ahead and click on the link in the chat box, the Right at School link. And if you go in and enter your information, you can be entered in for free registration, and we'll make that announcement tomorrow. All right. So I'm going to ask for some apologies up front, just because if there's any hiccups in the presentation. You'd think by now that we know this virtual format, we have it down, but every single time something happens, something acts up, and so just go along with it and ask for your patience if that does happen. So just wanted to put that up front. Out of respect for everybody's time, we know it's around dinner time right now. We really want to keep this to an hour. And so I'd like to get through the presentation. In order to do that, I just kind of go through and then answer any questions that you have along at the end. Although, if you have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to go in the chat box. And if you go in the chat box, you can ask questions along the way, and Tiffany and her team can answer them for you. So I'll have them managing the chat box and answering them. And then at the end, we can answer any questions that we might not have gotten to, or we can have additional conversation. So if you're okay with that, I'm going to go ahead and get through this presentation, and we'll get through it in before the hour, and we'll be able to hopefully answer all of your questions. If that's okay, we're going to go ahead and get going. So tonight's topics, let me get to this next screen. We're going to talk a little bit about who is Right at School. For those of you who've never heard of Right at School, what makes us so different? We'll talk a little bit about our tuition and our fees and the schedule, talk about safety, talk about curriculum, and then we're going to talk about our staff, and then, like I said, leave it open for discussion. So first and foremost, who is Right at School? So let me tell you a little bit about us. Our founder, CEO, Dr. Mark Rothschild, how we came about is he walked into his child's classroom. He has a daughter, and he saw her eating Doritos and watching a video. And having his doctorate in education, he just knew he can do better. He wanted her in a better after-school program. So in 2010, he started Right at School, and since then, we now service over 30,000 students daily in over 400 schools, 75 school districts across the country. And let me see if I can get this right. All of our Washington partners. So Tiffany and team, let me know if I missed any. We're in all of Renton, all of Bethel, all of Puyallup, all of Federal Way, all of Fife, all of Steilacoom, Auburn, Dearinger, Ording, Highline, Enumclaw, Edmonds. We're at Lakeside Montessori, Battleground, in Ellensburg. Did I get them all, Tiffany?
Yep, Washougal.
Washougal. Yes, we just started in Washougal. We just signed this week. So yes, Washougal.
Yeah.
So thank you. So those are all the districts that we partner with in Washington. And again, we're so excited to be partnering with Bellevue as well. Our mission at Right at School is to inspire love of learning, support schools, and give parents peace of mind. Something that we're really proud of is we were recently named the official after-school provider for AASA. And for those of you who don't, and you probably don't know what AASA is, that's the National School Superintendent Association. So again, something that we're really proud of. And now we're gonna show a brief video about the day in the life at Right at School. And today, because we have been running hybrid camps, COVID camps, essential personnel camps since I think 3 weeks after the pandemic started. So 3 weeks after shelter in place, we started in Washington, first in the country, and we've been running these programs ever since. So I will show you a video. Get this. There we go. Working? Okay, I am managing the presentation there. Oh. Okay, all right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about what makes Right at School so different. We're gonna hit on each of these in a little more detail, but here's a high level look. Our dedicated team, you've met some of them this evening. I think it's Christina was in Bellevue. She has worked in the programs there. And I believe both of our area managers that we hired, right, Tiffany, are from the Bellevue community and worked in the current program. So we're excited to have them. And our regional director, Tiffany, is born and raised in Washington. And so are all of our team. We're licensed, highly qualified, license approved staff. Our health and safety practices, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing since COVID. All of our curriculum is aligned to academic standards. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that and get you excited about what your kids are going to be doing every day. We will be open any time that the kids are out of school, whether it's late start, early release, non-school day, winter break, spring break, summer, whatever the spectrum is, conference week, as long as I believe as long as it's not a national holiday, we've been given the green light to be there. We are going to provide options for families, flexible options. You can attend 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, or 5 days. You can change your schedule every single month. We've had a lot of parents asking about that one. Yes, every single month you can change your schedule. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to offer discounts for siblings and any family who's on free and reduced lunch. We're going to have options for punch card or drop-in. We have a portal that everything is done online. So when you go in, several of you have already registered for the programs. I think we have 13 schools represented so far with registration, I think, as I saw right before here. So that's really exciting. So some of you have already gone on and registered online. And so hopefully it's been convenient and easy for you to do. And we have a customer service who's available for you to answer any and all of the questions that you may have. So with that, let's see. All right, so now we're gonna kind of start off with talking about pricing. We understand that summer and the 21-22 school year could look and feel a little different. You know, with social distancing and kids having to wear masks, it just feels a little different, right? But our goal is to try and provide flexibility and peace of mind for district employees and families by trying to offer options for every scenario. So we're here no matter what the scenario is going to look like. We understand that school's going back to traditional for the most part in the fall. We're kind of getting that direction in most of the school districts come this fall, which is really exciting. And our goal for Bellevue is we're going to be hosting a camp at Stevenson Elementary. And that camp you can see on here will be running from June 28th to August 20th. We're going to run from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we're kind of going back to pre-COVID times. And it's going to be $240 a week. You can change your schedule weekly. So for summer, it's only 5 days. So I know I talked about you can do the 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day options. That will be for fall. So for fall, you are able to sign up for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, or 5 day. For camps, you sign up by the weeks. So you can sign up 3 of the, I think it's a 10-week, I think it's a 10-week summer, right? Correct, Tiffany? I think that's 10 weeks. You can sign up for 5 of the 10 weeks. You can sign up for 1 of the 10 weeks. You can sign up for all 10 weeks. So it's your option. So you can sign up. And there's also 10% sibling discount. And anybody who is on free and reduced lunch, you get 50% off your tuition. We also take state subsidy. We take all the state subsidies, so they will also be able to help with your tuition. So that's what it's going to look like at summer. Again, I think we already have like 36 families enrolled for summer, so it's really exciting. And again, that will be at Stevenson Elementary. And then come this fall, starting September 1st, I know September 1st through I think 5th grade starts on September 1st, and I think kinder start on September 7th. So I think that's right. But come this fall, we will be at all of the elementary schools with the exception of Jingmei and Cherry Crest. So we will not be at those 2 elementary schools, but we will be at the 16 other elementary schools. So I want to repeat that again. We will be at all of the elementary schools with the exception of Jingmei and Cherry Crest. I know we had Cherry Crest just came up recently, so I apologize. We had several families who had already registered for Cherry Crest, but we just found out we're not going to be at that location. But the Boys and Girls Club, I believe, will be and is at that location. So we will reach out to those families and have those conversations with them. But you can see here's the pricing for before and after school. You have the option to go 1 to 5 days before school, 1 to 5 days after school, and 1 to 5 days before and after school. And there's the pricing with it. Again, you get the same discounts. If you have a sibling, you get 10% off. Any military family gets 10% off as well. And any family who qualifies for free and reduced lunch gets 50% off their tuition. So again, any questions we can answer at the end or ask along the way, and our team can answer that. So hopefully that clears up any of the questions that you may have around pricing. And I think this information is also on our website. So now we're going to talk a little bit about health and safety, because we know that's really important for families these days. They want to know what's going on in our program. So we've really increased our health and safety practices, starting with wellness checks. Obviously, staff and children get daily temperature checks and assessments, checking for any symptoms that they may have. Proper hygiene, hand washing for 20 seconds, several times throughout the day. So hand washing, multiple times. Grouping and physical distance. We're going to do our best to group children by ages, and those children will stay in the same cohorts throughout the day. We've created activities that will support social distancing. So when we talk about curriculum, we have curriculum packets and guides and themes that will support the social distancing. And again, we will do our best to try and keep children by the appropriate age group and also in the same cohorts until anything further changes. And we've been told that, anything different, that's how we'll continue to do it. Staff and students are required to wear face masks as of today. As you know, things are changing daily. And so we'll be sure to communicate those changes as they arise and if we hear anything. But as of this summer, please make sure that you bring your child to school with a face mask. If not, we will absolutely provide them for them. Children have their own personal supplies and art kits. So we will have those. We don't want children touching everybody else's supplies. And so we will have their own personal supplies and art kits for them. And obviously, we're following all CDC sanitation guidelines and have increased our sanitation practices. Right now, our student-to-child ratio is 15-1. Tiffany, that's correct, right? Still 15-1.
15-1.
Okay, perfect. So that is our staff-to-child ratio right now. And usually when we have a program that has over 50 kids, we have an out-of-ratio director. So usually that ratio even decreases some. Good to talk about safety. Safety is number one. We hear from families, number one, they choose providers. The most important things for them is safety, being in a safe program, and getting their homework completed. Funny enough, that's what we get back in all of our surveys. So before we hire, everyone has to go down through a full background check, FBI, state, local background checks, federal abuse index, sexual abuse, all of that. So they can't even get started with us. They can't even get hired with us until they have a cleared background check. Every day we're doing check-in and outs. We're doing head counts and check-in out. So don't be surprised if you come in and we ask for your identification. We make sure that anybody who is able to pick up and drop off your child, or really pick up, because sometimes we're dropping them off in the morning, that they are on your emergency contact form. So anybody who you want to pick up or drop off your child, make sure that you have them on the emergency contact form, because we will not let anyone else who's not on there pick up your child at the end of the afternoon. Any emergency drills that we have to do, whether it be like lockdowns, any type of natural disaster, any of that. So we are in partnership with the district. So we will talk with them about their emergency disaster plans. We will make sure that we are cooperating with them, that we are on the same page, that we know what the drills are, and we also practice them all the time. So not only are we collaborating with them, but we are practicing them so that if for some reason something does happen, we are ready. And the children are ready and they know what to do in case of an emergency. All right, so now we get to talk a little bit about back to school. This was done mid-2020, so it's still relevant for 2021. So we will show you a little bit about what it looks like today.
With a new school year just around the corner, we are thrilled to welcome you back to Right at School.
We've been working hard to develop fun, new activities to keep your kids excited about learning. But our top priority is, and always will be, safety for our students and our staff.
To make sure your kids are in a healthy, safe environment, we're administering daily wellness checks to everyone that enters the program.
To help protect our program space, we'll be conducting pickup and drop-offs outside. Only staff and students are allowed in our programs.
To minimize the spread of germs, staff members will be wearing face masks at all times, sanitizing surface areas often, and of course, washing hands a lot.
Curriculum is designed for social distancing. It's the same joy and fun you've always known, just 6 feet apart.
And to minimize contact between students, each student will have their own activity kit.
We know school's gonna look a little different this year, but we're here to make it as fun as ever.
We can't tell you how excited we are to welcome you back to school.
We know how to keep the risk factor low.
All right, let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. All right, changed it. All right, so now I get to talk about what I like the most, is our curriculum. Our focus really is on building children up. We're here for the long game of education. So everything we do is about empowering students with the attributes that we know as educators will continue to unfold throughout their lives. The last thing a child wants to hear when they get out of school at 3 p.m. is, who wants to learn some more? No, they're like, no, no, no. So every year students get to enjoy fresh new curriculum that's been written by our that's been written by our curriculum experts who were former teachers and administrators. And you can see in this slide, we have different themes. Each of these themes consists of 2-week thematic units that focus on areas ranging from art to science to music to math. And then you'll see in this slide, for example, students are learning about Roman aqueducts. They're building and applying they're applying design thinking as they build and test their own design that have been built out of recyclables. We want children to engage in hands-on activities. The whole concept is they just think that they're having fun, but what they don't know is there's actually a ton of learning happening. That's why we call it disguised learning. In each one of these units that you saw in the previous guide, we have a curriculum guide. So we set our employees up for success so that there's never a day that there's curriculum not happening. We always have supplies. So kids get to enjoy, 180 activities that are just fun and engaging. And there's a ton of learning on, but they don't know that there's any learning. That's the whole concept. And like I had mentioned before, we have a ton of new packets that are designed around social distancing so that we can make sure that children are safe while they're in our program. So now I get to talk a little bit about our daily schedule, kind of what it looks like. Obviously, as we talked about safety, welcome and attendance is first. Make sure all the children are accounted for. What I will say is, again, we would appreciate it if you update your emergency contacts, because we have never had a time where we have 10 contacts and we can't get a hold of any 10. It happens all the time, actually, where we can't get a hold of any of those emergency contacts and the numbers are not right. So please make sure you're updating with accurate numbers, because we want to make sure that all children who are signed up to be there are in our program. We have a 15-minute rule. Obviously, if a child doesn't show up, we will usually go to the front office, talk to the secretary, the office manager, to say, hey, Johnny here today? No, he happened to go home with mom, or there was a dentist appointment, or yeah, he was here today. And so then we call parents, call emergency contacts, try and locate them. Within 15 minutes, if we have not contacted anyone and not heard from anyone, we will call the authorities. That's how important it is that children are safe, and that's how serious we take safety. After that, we go into transitions. We go into bathroom. Let them go take bathroom breaks, and then we have self-serve snack. And so we'll provide healthy snacks for children. There will probably be a question maybe around lunch. I just wanted to let you know, just when we were talking about snacks, and for summer, lunch will be provided for the children in the summer program. I forgot to mention that on the summer slide. But we will have healthy snacks for the afternoon. After snacks, children go into what's called town hall. That's really our family time. It's our chance to have a conversation, sit down with the children, really in a relaxed environment, talk about service projects that they might be working on, special events, celebrations, things that might be going on in the school, community events. We also talk about our curriculum. We talk about what we might have done yesterday and get them excited about what we're going to be doing that afternoon. This is usually child-led. Usually the children will lead these programs. Then we go into right moves, and that's really 10 to 15 minutes to just get that excess energy out. Children have been in school all day. We want to get them up. We want to get their blood pumping. We want to get their heart going. We want to get them up and doing something, whether it's some type of yoga, some type of indoor activity, outdoor activity, group game. We have dice where it's like, all right, you got to do 6 push-ups or jumping jacks. Just get them moving, because then we go into homework. And we know how important it is for children to try and get their homework completed before they go home, because there's so many things going on in the afternoon. I'm a single mom of 3. I've been raising 3 kids physically and financially on my own for now, I think 16 years. And so I know what it's like when my kids did not have their homework done. It was a nightmare in the evening. So we want to make sure that children can get their homework done so they can enjoy the other things that they have going on once they get picked up, and enjoy family time at home. Then we go into a more vigorous fitness component. So we have structured, unstructured activities. We never let anybody just roam around. Like if they don't have anything to do, we'll gather them up and try and get them involved in a group game. Some people want their own autonomy, and that's fine too. And then we come back in, and that's when we do our curriculum, which I just talked about. Usually by then, families are starting to pick up their children. So we will make sure that oftentimes, and I will say, families will come to pick up their children probably around the time we're doing curriculum, and the kids are so engaged that they ask their parents to come back after. I promise you will experience or see that at some point. Every time I go into a program, every time we go someplace, that happens all the time, and I look at these parents and they come back, and I'm like, made me feel like a horrible parent, because I never did. I was like, sorry, we got to go. but that's kind of a little bit of our curriculum. We don't want to do it earlier in the day because we know how important it is to complete homework. So after curriculum, like I said, parents are normally picking up, so we'll have some activities set out where they can have some autonomy, self-create, or just have some free time or downtime. They can do some reading if they like. So that's a little bit of what our daily schedule looks like. This is kind of what our summer looks like, some of our summer schedule. These are some of our, themes that we've had in the past. And so you'll see during the summer, there's going to be lots of different thematic units and lots of different things that children will be doing throughout the summer. So I'll give a second for this slide to be on here so you can read through some of them. And these are just weekly themes. So unlike the fall where they're 2-week thematic units, these are actually just weekly units. And this is what a typical day in summer looks like. Obviously, kids spend warm summer days in our programs. Most of the days out there are warm in the summer, and so they continue their learning, they create meaningful relationships and have fun. Every week they focus on science, exploration, art, movement, fitness, and community service. So this is what a typical day might look like in our summer school program. Tiffany or team, did you guys want to jump in at all and say anything else about summer or have anything else you wanted to add before I get a move on?
No, I think what's really fun about summer is we really want Right at School kids to be kids this summer and have really that opportunity to engage and focus on social emotional learning, as well as have an educational component. All of our curriculum does have educational components to it, right? As it says, with science, exploration, art, movement, fitness, community service projects, there's a lot going on in the summer, and we're just really excited for kids to be kids this summer as well. We'll also support if your child is in any type of Bellevue School District summer school program. We will also support that with students as well.
Correct. All right. So let me go on. So it is important. So it's important that we're entrenched in everything that goes on in the school and in the community. A lot of this past year has been virtual, and we know some things might continue to be virtual. But as soon as we can, we'll attend any virtual event, but then we'll get out and join any community event as well. We also join the PTA or PTO. We want to be entrenched again and be a part of all of the events that are going on with the PTA and PTO groups. We also provide free childcare during those meetings. So oftentimes, parents don't go because they don't have childcare. So we will pay our staff to stay during those PTO meetings, and so that you can go and enjoy them. Obviously, we would like for the children to be potty trained and above, all right? So we're not going to be able to change diapers, but if you can bring them, it's free of charge. And we've seen about a 30% increase in those PTO meetings because of it. So again, we're there to provide those services for you. We attend any and all school and district events. We'll do face painting at carnivals, pass out water during walkathons, because we know that the stronger our partnership is, the stronger our programs are. We even attend board meetings. Obviously, we want to ensure that we're aligned with any strategic initiatives that are going on with the district, that we can support any cause that's happening, and that we're all on the same page because we're servicing the same children. We even have our own variety shows. Variety shows are kind of like, that we call them variety shows, but it's like a talent show. And families get to come and engage. We oftentimes will participate in awards assemblies, and we'll give out school awards for Right at School kids and showing good character and demonstrating good certain things. So we'll be a part of those. And so obviously we will do military, we'll write to military. We do a lot of service projects. We have something called Right Club Gives Back. So again, your children will be participating in a lot of things in our after school program. And we know that we are nothing without our people. Our people are everything. And so we hire, you might wonder, well, how do you hire? We hire from 4 main sources mainly. The first one being current after school employees. So a lot of times we know children love their teachers. And so we want them, for those people who work in the current program, and we know it's a current boost program, those who work there and want to come work with Right at School, we want those employees to come work with us. And so they get the first right of refusal. So they're the first ones that get the first opportunity. We've already hosted a staff forum, for current employees. And so once we give them the opportunity, then we open it up to the public and start doing some additional hiring. So if you know of anyone who wants to work with Right at School, please let us know. Second thing is we have a lot of parapros who work with us. A lot of parapros are aid. We hire them because we know that they know the students already and the community. So many districts have, sometimes they cap out at 30 hours a week because of healthcare and other reasons. So sometimes these parapros are looking for more hours. And also we get to provide them with our amazing training. And so they get to also bring that back into the classroom. So it's a win-win on both ends. Also, a lot of people the other people we hire, a lot of people who want to go and work in education. So they want to go back and be a teacher, whether they want to be an art teacher, a theater teacher, math teacher, science teacher, whatever it is, we want them to come back and work into our program. So while they're going to school, so we provide the perfect platform for them, because we know that first-year teachers sometimes struggle with classroom management and curriculum implementation, and they get both of those things in our program. So again, a lot of those people who want to be in education, this is a great stepping stone for them. And then we hire a lot of retired teachers, because teachers never retire. And it's a great opportunity for them to come into our program. And it's not really frontal, it's much more, experiential, and they get to sit down with the children, they get to be engaged with them, they get to put their hat backwards, and they just kind of get to relax and have a bit of fun. So those are kind of the four main groups. And, we're really happy with that. And one of the things that I'd like to say, and something we're really proud of, is we have the highest employee retention in the industry. And we really think that has a lot to do with our training and our training model and how we train our people. And so I'll talk a little bit about that. We really have a blended training model. We have a division, we have an online and in-person training. So staff will come in and once they pass their background check, they will come in and they will do online training. And so they'll pass a series of assessments. They'll have to pass a series of assessments. So they do the trainings. I think there's like 10 to 12 trainings that they go through. They pass the assessments. Once they pass the assessments, they go into in-person training. So once they get an in-person, we do a few days of live training and really a day in the life. What's it like to be in a day in life at Right at School? And, we go through what the schedule is going to look like, where children are going to be dropped off, where they're going to be picked up. If there's a health, an issue with a child not feeling well, and then you have a child over here who's acting up, like how do you work through and balance this day, whether you have 20 kids or 120 kids? How do you work through that? So we'll do that really through a day in the life. Again, one of the things, another thing that we're really proud of is that our training model was regarded by the president of the National After School Association. And she asked us to partner with the U.S. Department of Labor to use our model as an apprenticeship for the entire after school profession. So again, we're doing something right, and we've been able to retain and keep a lot of our employees and try to keep them happy. But what's most important is what our employees have to say about us. So 3 years in a row now, 99% of our staff felt effective and confident within just 30 days of their role. So obviously we know that that's rare, and it's something that we're really proud of. It's probably one of our best statistics. So again, our people are great. We love them, and we are nothing without them. I'm happy to say that registration is open. It's online, and several of you have already registered. So that is exciting. One of the things I did want to say is that our goal is not to have any waiting lists. So we know that's been a big question from families, is about waiting lists. Our goal obviously is dependent on space, but our goal in collaboration with the district is to eliminate any wait lists, because we know as families how frustrating that is and how hard that is on you when you have children and you don't know what you're going to do. And so we obviously want to be there for you. We want to be there for anyone who needs care in the community. We will staff accordingly to it and be able to provide the services. Again, obviously it's dependent upon space, and we are working with principals now as we speak to identify and make sure that we can identify any and every space that we can possibly have to accommodate the needs of all your families. So again, registration is open. It is online. Summer and fall registration is open. So please spread the word. We obviously want to know how many people we need to hire. So if you register early, it gives us a really good indication of how many people we want to hire, and we don't have to worry about doing that last minute hiring. We usually hire about 10% more than what we need. So it's always nice to have a feel of how many people are going to be attending. So after today, there's several ways that you can contact us. You can call our customer service, and the number's on there. You can get a hold of Christina. Again, she could wave, and she's on here. there's her email. Christina, I don't know if there's any other information you wanted to provide, but you can contact her. I don't know if you wanted to put your phone information in there. And then Tiffany, Brenna when is she coming on board?
Brenna starts actually on Monday, so she'll be available in about 3 weeks to communicate with, but I put Christina's email address in the chat box so that way people can just copy it.
Okay, perfect. And then again, we put our area managers through about 3 weeks of training. So although she'll be starting, she goes through vigorous training for the first few weeks before we have her in the field. All right, so Tiffany, I don't know if you've been able to answer all the questions, what questions have come about. If anybody has any questions, if they don't want to put it in the chat box and would rather ask the question, please feel free. I mean, it's easier to do it in the chat box because I can read them in the chat box and then answer them on here. So did you want to answer anything additional, Tiffany?
The chat box has been really busy. What's the cost for after school care during the school year? I didn't have that chart in front of me.
I have it in front of me.
Great.
After school care, are they looking for, I'll just go through all the days. So if you just need after school care during the school year, for 1 day a week, it's $119 a month. For 2 days a week, it's $225. For 3 days a week, it's $320. For 4 days a week, it's $389. And for 5 days, it's $445. And that's for after school only for the month. Those are monthly rates. So $445 a month if you needed 5 days after school.
Awesome. How does your pay and benefits compare to the Bellevue School District pay for after school teachers? Will you be able to attract and retain quality teachers?
Tiffany, did you want to, or do we have Katrina on here? Did someone want to answer that one?
No, I think I'm good. I just was trying to do the chat box at the same time, but you know, we have a really robust benefit program to support our staff. Can I speak about pay? I'm not sure what the Bellevue School District is paying their staff, so I can't speak about that, but I will tell you in the programs that we have gone in, we are very confident that we can retain, attract and retain really skilled and qualified staff. We've been successful in multiple districts. As you heard, right, in the last 4 years, we've grown in incremental ways, and our staff are highly engaged with us. So I think that's the best way I can answer it. There's more that you want to know, maybe reach out to Christina one-on-one, or feel free to reach out to me too.
And I believe from the people that we have interviewed and talked to that it seems to be comparable.
Yeah, absolutely. What happens when you have less than 15 kids registered in the program? Very likely that is going to happen. Hitting that 15 student minimum is actually incredibly easy with Right at School. We believe that our tuition rates are incredibly competitive. And because of that, knock on some wood, we should be able to open up all 16 locations in the Bellevue School District. We feel incredibly confident about that.
And the nice thing about having 16 programs is there might be a program that has 150 kids and there might be one that has 10. And so we kind of take it as an overall number, not necessarily a school by school number, right, Tiffany? It's kind of how we do it when we have a larger portfolio.
Correct. Yeah. The question, what will happen to the kids who are at Boost at Cherry Crest? Boys and Girls Club will remain at Cherry Crest, and from my understanding, there will not be busing from Cherry Crest to another program.
Wait, sorry, Tiffany, I have a little bit of clarification. We were not asking about the Boys and Girls Club students, but we were asking about, like, our son was with Mr. Wines at Cherry Crest. And so there were, I don't know how many students, a whole bunch of people, maybe 50 students, I think, who were all part of Mr. Wines when you entered the school. It was called the Boost. I don't know what it was called, but what happens to all those students?
So the students have the choice to register with Boys and Girls Club at Cherry Crest. That's where those families are going to have that option. What I do know is that the Boost program is going away at the end of the school year. I'm not sure about like the Boys and Girls Club program. I don't have any information about that. I know that Right at School will not be at Cherry Crest.
I see. So that they're just killing that program in Cherry Crest. There will be no childcare offered by Bellevue School District at Cherry Crest.
That is correct.
Okay, it has to be a Boys and Girls Club then. Okay.
Yes, correct.
And that's the same thing at Jingmei as well. There will be a childcare program at every single location, is my understanding. So every single location, and there will be a few that have two. So there are a few campuses where the children will have the option to do the Boys and Girls Club or ride at school. But at Jingmei and at Cherry Crest, it's just going to be the Boys and Girls Club.
I don't have the rates in front of me, Cindy, but here's the question. How much is before and after school care for 5 days a week during the school year? Is there any cost savings that'll be passed on to the parents? The Bellevue School District indicated that this program was replacing Boost for cost savings.
So Maya, I don't know if you're familiar with the current Boost rates or what they were pre-COVID, but our rates are less expensive than the Boost. And I just went back on the screen since there seemed to be some questions about price. So yes, our rates were less than the current Boost program. So if I'm not sure, I believe I might have that information, but all of our rates were about at least 10%, if not more, less than the current Boost program. So for before and after school, it's $545 a month. Is that right? Yes.
Yep. Can you elaborate about drop-in during the school year?
Tiffany, did you want to talk about that, or you want me to?
Sure. Yeah. Drop-in care for the school year. So if a family needs, a day here or a day there, all we ask is that they register before noon on the day that they need care. If they're looking for afternoon care in the morning, we can accept drop-ins without registration. That's much easier. But we have to plan our staffing accordingly. And so we would definitely need to know by noon of the day if your child does need to drop in for that afternoon, because drop-in is based off of space availability. If we do not have space in that afternoon, then we won't be able to service your child. That's never our goal, but drop-in is space availability during that day.
And Tiffany, one of the things I did forget to mention, I apologize, guys, is that we also have what's called a punch card. So you can do drop-in, but what we also have is a punch card, because sometimes we have a lot of people who are in real estate or a realtor in plenty other organizations or community services, and they don't have a set schedule. They don't work 5 days a week. They might show a house once a month, 5 times a month. So we have a punch card, so you can buy 10 days. Let me look, I'm looking at it now. So 10 days for before and after school care for $375 a month, or sorry, $375 for 10 days. So you can buy the punch card and you can use that whenever you want. You might take the whole school year to use those 10 days, or you might use it up in 2 months. So that's another option for some of you who don't really know what your schedule is going to be. And it might have some flexibility in there. And we usually have, like I said, we figure most of our programs are going to have over 50 kids in there. And so we'll have an out of ratio director. So there's always some leeway with a few kids. We never get a ton of drop-in or punch card, but we might have 4 or 5, depending on throughout the week. So we usually try to accommodate for that.
Is there a daily drop-in rate, Cindy?
The daily drop-in rate is $40 a day for AM and PM care.
$40 a day.
Cheaper to do the 10-day if you guys think you might have some drop-ins. Might do the 10-day. And obviously, if you're a current program, if you're a current parent and you're in 3 days, say you're a 3-day parent and you come 3 days all the time and you just need to add that 4th day, I'm sure they can just figure out a way to add 4th day without making you pay that drop-in. So I'm sure we can figure out and be flexible with that.
Correct. It continues to show that Cherry Crest is an option on your website. That is correct. We were notified that we would not be at Cherry Crest today. So our team is actively working on the back end to take that school in particular off of our website. So we apologize that it's on there. I know it's deceiving. We're so sorry, but it is being removed from the website as soon as possible.
Sorry, guys, it's been, we've been doing this, all kind of quickly trying to get up and ramped up for everyone. And so, we just got the news today. And so we apologize. We are working to get that off of our website, but we apologize. I'm sorry.
Hey, Cindy and Tiffany, thank you for your responses. If there is enough of a demand from Cherry Crest, would you consider it?
Well, we believe there's the demand. I think the principal had made the decision to only have one provider on the site.
So Dusty chose to just have one?
Correct.
Oh, I see. Got it. Got it. It's not a demand situation.
No, it's not a demand situation. He had just made the decision, I believe, and I believe that's what we were told today, is the principal just made the decision to have one provider on his campus.
That's fine. I mean, and Dusty is awesome. I'll go have a chat with him. He probably has reasons for doing that. So I'll just talk to him. Thank
Yeah.
you.
But we can meet any demand. If for some reason he changes his mind, it's really easy for us to click a button and add it back in.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
And if obviously in coordination with the district and they're okay with it, it's the principal's decision. So obviously we would support whatever decision he makes.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Will we provide immunization proof to the district? Do we still need to provide the proof to you? Yes, you have to do it twice. We are so sorry. We are licensed by the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, and that is a requirement for us. So when you do immunizations for your school, please make a copy and give it to us as well. We would appreciate that.
And guys, like I said, we are licensed through the state of Washington through the licensing department. So we do have certain regulations and stuff that we have to follow.
Mhm. The next question is, Rosa, I saw you raised your hand. Did you have a question that you wanted to come off mute and ask before I go to the chat box one?
Oh, yes, similar to probably the Cherry Crest question. So for Jingmei students, is it also the principal who had decided to only have one provider?
I think so. I believe that's the same situation.
Okay,
believe-
so I can contact the principal as well regarding that, because I'm sure there is quite a bit of demand.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. We can double check with you if you want to leave us your information, and we can let you know for sure, but we believe that was the situation at both of the schools.
Okay, who should I tell my information to?
If you want to put it in the direct chat box to Tiffany or myself, or Tiffany,
Either one of us, just
Yep.
do a direct message to us and we'll get your email address.
and I can
Okay,
I
sounds
can
good.
shoot a message now as well, just to see if I can get a response before we.
The next question, are your staff vaccinated against COVID, and what is your vaccination rate of your staff? So at Right at School, we strongly encourage our staff to get vaccinated. It is not a mandated requirement for our staff. However, it is a encouragement for all staff to get vaccinated. I can't give you a vaccination rate because we are in the process of hiring our staff for the fall. We do have our summer camp staff, and you know what? I'm not sure what their vaccination rate is off the top of my head. But all of the fall team, we are in the process of starting the hiring so that they're ready to go for the first day of school in September. Does that help answer the question? I hope so. Okay.
Skip, do you train your staff directors with kids with special needs? Tiffany, did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we absolutely work with families with special needs. Every student is individualized and every student has a different story. And so we want to have that conversation with the family and then determine how do we fit the needs of your child. Again, I would love to make like an overall generic statement, but I don't think there is one. I think, again, every child is unique, and we will partner with families one-on-one to determine what's the best environment for your child and how we can support your child. We want your child to be successful, and we also want to make sure that the other students are also successful in the program. So really that's a conversation we'll have with the program manager on site and with Christina and Brenna and even myself if necessary, and we'll determine what's the right care plan for each child. Great question. I don't see anything else in the chat box.
Hold on, I think Tiffany, one of the things that happens is I get direct messages and I'm not following the track. I'm not following all of the direct you've been kind of managing it. So let me just make sure there's no more direct messages that might have been skipped because they came to just me and not you. So I apologize, guys. This is all new. Okay, so daily, is it daily ATTESTATION question mark?
Daily attestation, yes, daily attestation with COVID does happen. That will continue until the Department of Health tells us otherwise. So before children can enter the program, they do have to go through the COVID questions as well as the temperature check that's required. And that is in addition to whatever the Bellevue School District will require. Right at School will have its process, and the Bellevue School District will also have its process. So just know in the fall, it likely will be a 2-step process if they're still doing attestation. In the summer, you will only have to go through the Right at School one. We also meet families at the door, and we do curbside, essentially drop off and pick up, where families unfortunately right now are not allowed into the building because we are trying to mitigate the transmission of COVID. So I hope that helps. I have another question in the chat box. Cindy, you okay if I keep going?
Yeah, of course.
Does the punch card option guarantee on the days needed, or is it still like drop-in with availability? Punch card is exactly like drop-in. If there's not space available, you will not be able to use it on that day. Punch card is also non-refundable. So if you do purchase a punch card for those 10 days, that will have to be used up by the last day of school in June. It does not roll over to summer. That's a good clarifying question as well.
Tiffany, how often, can you answer how often we don't have space? Because we typically can accommodate drop-ins and punch card, correct?
Depends on the school, right? It depends on the enrollment level at the school. We are going to try and accommodate as many punch cards as we can, but enrollment levels, right? It might be, I don't know, maybe it's an early release Wednesday and we might not have space available on that day because we have so many families that are choosing, that are in a regular care setting that already have that space occupied. So there are opportunities where we can't always take drop-ins or accommodate punch cards. Just to be transparent, we are going to try and take as many as we possibly can.
And we usually hire, just so you know, we usually hire about 10% more to have aides. So we'll normally have, substitutes. So we'll normally hire, I think 10% more staff we need to be on as substitutes. Is that usually about right, Tiffany?
Correct. Yep.
Sorry, guys, I'm just writing down some of these emails, so I'm not paying attention. I just want to make sure that I have
there's another question, so I'll keep going. As a physician, it would be great to get staff vaccination rate when you do have it, since my kids are elementary age and aren't able to get the vaccine yet. I would like to know the risk level. Absolutely, we will do our best to share as much as we possibly can. We do believe in transparencies. There are other laws and regulations we have to just make sure that we're incredibly careful with. But we want to be as transparent as possible. And we will try and be as transparent as possible when it is appropriate and legally allowed for us to do so. But we agree, we are strongly encouraging our staff, again, to get the vaccination because they are with our children on a daily basis. So we agree. There's a couple of hands that are in the air again, Cindy.
Okay.
Are you okay? Rosa, did you want, I wasn't sure who raised their hand first, SV or Rosa?
You can both come off mute.
Rosa can go first, that's fine.
Oh, sorry. I'll just take my hand down. It was from the previous question.
Oh, okay. Woo. All right. Glad we got it answered.
SV, it's all you.
Okay, so actually a couple of questions. One was you mentioned that the punch card has to be used up for the whole school year. Initially, I thought the punch card was valid for only a month. Was I mistaken?
No, it's actually valid for whenever you need it. So you can buy it at the beginning of the year and you could take the whole year to use it. Or some people use it in a month and they get another one. So it's up to you. It's a punch card you can buy whenever and you can use it whenever within that school year.
Okay.
Tiffany said
September to June.
Okay.
September to June. Yep.
Okay. And the second question was for the care as needed. You had mentioned that for the mornings, it's usually not required to pre-register, and for the afternoons, it's required. Usually, how much in advance does one need to do that? And once we do pre-register, let's say I know that I need it on a random Tuesday next week, and I do it a week in advance, how soon do you get back in terms of yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely. So mornings tend to be less enrolled than afternoons, which makes it easier to accommodate that space. And so as long as you have purchased your punch card, then you're registered in the system and your child can then attend the program. So in the morning, sure, it would be great if you could let us know the day before. That would be amazing. That doesn't always happen. Usually a parent that needs a drop-in in the morning, something last minute, a last minute meeting or something has come up. And so they are frantically coming to the door and saying, oh my gosh, I really need to bring my child. And of course, we're going to do everything we can to accept them. As far as if you know a week in advance, that's great. Once you call the customer service team or to register for that day, because any punch card family does have to communicate with the customer service team. Once you communicate with them, they will alert us and they'll be able to tell you if space is available on the day that you need. So that won't be a problem at all. So if you plan a week ahead of time, you'll know a week ahead of time if space is available once you make that phone call to customer service.
Okay, and then the call is to the generic 855 customer service, or does it have to be at each individual center that one would have to call depending on where your child is going?
Yeah, no, for this one, for any drop-in, you're going to want to call the generic customer service, the 855-287-2466. That's the number you want to use for a drop-in. Every site will have a phone number attached to it. That is to call the site to say, my child's going to be absent today, right? Or I'm just FYI, I'm changing my schedule with customer service. This is what my new schedule is going to be, or various other things, maybe a medication alert or something like that. So. Okay.
And then the last question, I'm sorry if I'm hogging too much time, is.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Let's say that for some reason I couldn't do the punch card and then I needed to do a drop-in. What kind of registration do I need to have, or is that random drop-in something without a registration? How does that work? Or because if I'll be honest, I haven't gone to your website for registration yet, but is it, so I don't know how that works. Is it something that once you register, you do have to sign up for some sort of schedule, and if you don't, there's some other things or whatever it is?
No, you can absolutely go on and register for just a drop-in or a punch card. You can do that anytime. Then what will happen is if you find that you need a routine schedule moving forward, you can change your schedule at the beginning or at the end of every single month for the following month. So then you can go in and adjust that as you need. But once you're registered in the system, you can essentially add days or decrease days at the end of every single month prior to the start of the following month. And in the summer, you can make those changes the Friday before the week that care is given.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're so welcome.
And I'm not sure if Rosa is on real quick, but we believe that the Yingmei was a principal decision as well. So just wanted to make sure I clarified that. I don't know if she's still on here. I just sent her a message, but just in case anyone else was asking.
Another question in the chat box is, will you provide an FAQ after this session specifically for the Bellevue School District? I missed most of the session and my spouse couldn't attend and might have some questions. We're recording this entire presentation, so it will be posted for families, so that way you can watch it both on our Right at School page, and then we're hoping that the Bellevue School District will also post it for families as well. So it will be available for you to watch at whatever time works for your family. You can also, I'll also go up. Cindy, do you want to bring the registration page back up?
Yeah,
you can also visit the Right at School registration page. That will also answer questions about our program. And I'll type that again in the chat box right now.
Yeah, for those of you who came on late, make sure you go on and sign up so you can put in for free registration. It's in there at the website. Go to the www.rightatschool.com, the Bellevue specific page, and it is in there. And again, we will have this recording. I made sure to record it, and we will put this up on that website as well as hopefully the district website.
Yep, and I added it to the chat box again, making it easy for you to copy and hopefully paste it.
All right, are there any more questions? It looks like it is almost 7 o'clock on the dot. That is incredible. So
that is incredible.
If there are any more questions, you can get a hold of any of us. Obviously, Christina is going to be your main source of contact going forward, her and Tiffany, as well as we have a new young lady starting next week, as Tiffany said. And then she'll be available within the next 3 weeks, and that'll be Brenna. So direct any of your questions to there. Thank you guys for all the great questions. Thank you for participating, and please spread the word and let families know we are ready.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Do we pay this only the September's fee now, or do we need to pay the whole year's fee now?
No, you don't pay the whole year's fee. Nope.
No, once you go into your cart, it will show you your entire year's payment, but then it will show you an installment plan is what it's called in the system. And the installment plan will show you what the monthly billing is.
Oh,
We prorate the first month depending on the first day of school. So the first month will be prorated, and then it'll give you your monthly tuition for every single month. So when you do load it in your cart, it does look like it's the whole year, but then look for the installment plan information. It's in there as well.
Will you automatically charge next month's fee, or do we need to pay every month? Every month, do we need to pay?
Yeah, no, good question. So when you register now, the registration fee will be charged. That will be charged today or whatever day you register.
And that's only the $50, right, Tiffany? So the only thing that will be
Correct.
charged is a registration fee of $50.
Correct. Then your first installment will happen the 15th of the month prior to services starting. So August 15th is when your September billing will hit. And then September 15th, your October billing, so on and so forth through the rest of the school year.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Great
Yes,
question,
thank you.
because a lot of people are going to want to hear that one. So I'm glad.
Yeah,
that
that was a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, I think we are good. Everyone have a great night. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your dinner plans or whatever you have planned for the rest of the evening. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.